The industrial park that I chose to look at is actually located in my hometown, Northborough, Massachusetts, and runs into the city of Marlborough. The name of the park is the Crossroads Industrial Park. It's 327 acres, has the capacity for over 2 million square feet of industrial development as well. The contractor of the park is currently Gutierrez Construction Company, and there are a bunch of different companies like A. Dewey Pyle, FedEx Ground, as well as FedEx Freight, Maintenance Supply Headquarters, Harmon Specialty Groups, McKesson, which is a pharmaceutical company, and United Technologies. This specific industrial park allows for 24-hour operations currently, so it makes it so the companies that are there can run around the clock and is cheap as much as possible. So the Crossroads Industrial Park currently has some green aspects, but that's mainly due to the fact that it's located in a remote location. It's right next to Bartlett Pond and surrounded by woods and trees. I have a couple ideas looking to improve the greening of the Crossroads. Would be maybe to incorporate the pond within the park. Although this could be a bad idea in terms of polluting the pond, I think some sort of running water feature, viewing point of the pond, would make it feel more connected to the woods as well as the rest of the environment. My second suggestion would be to incorporate more trees within the park itself. A lot of the lots are primarily gray and dull because besides a few bushes that lead up to the FedEx building and whatnot. I also think there's an opportunity to retrofit the buildings with green roofs. The main buildings are flat roofs and sit in the hot sun all day. Probably use a great deal of energy to cool them in the summer. A green roof would improve the building's efficiency as well as help with stormwater management. That could potentially be a problem and affect their operations. So the Northborough Planning Board recently approved for plans for 220,000 square foot building at the Bartlett Street. I couldn't find what is going in that building, but I'm assuming that there's going to be some sort of warehouse or manufacturing building placed there. I read a little bit about the approval, and people living in the area are worried about the noise. We see this concern all the time. Residents prefer to have these things not in my backyard. One suggestion that I would have is to construct walls like the ones made in the highways that contain the noise of traffic from going into someone's yard. This was a little surprising, however, because the nearest residential area is pretty far from the location here. The park's pretty isolated from the rest of Northborough and Marlborough. So I have another suggestion would be focus on energy, would be to create a solar facility within the park. This solar panel farm could power the majority of the buildings while creating clean and renewable energy. A large problem with a lot of these industrial parks is the amount of toxins and greenhouse gases that are emitted while running trucks, powering the buildings, and so I think utilizing clean energy would offset a large majority of these emissions. The area is great for a solar farm because it's isolated and has a massive amount of unused land. I can't really picture this area having any other type of renewable energy except maybe a wind turbine. The park is sort of on top of the hill, so maybe the wind flow could produce a decent amount of energy. And then to address the problems of serving local needs, I think the park could make several adjustments. The first would be for them to increase their signage. Currently, the area is kind of sketchy. You can't really tell where anything is and like which business is hidden, like way down the driveway or whatnot. I'd also suggest to create a more beautiful park. The entrance is pretty dull and ugly to drive by. There's always so many cars on that road passing through. So making a better aesthetically looking industrial park would benefit both the city of Marlborough as well as the town of Northborough. I think the Crossroads Industrial Park could be a big asset for both towns by improving the efficiency of buildings, utilizing cleaner forms of energy, increasing signage, increasing street trees, and making for more aesthetically pleasing building entrances. The industrial park could be more environmentally sound as well as serving both businesses and the public with the changes that I suggested. Thank you.